Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the stream. Here we are playing Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, a game that when you play online has all your high scores tracked, all of your statistics tracked, and it also allows you to watch other players and see what they're doing and how they're going about retrieving the Orb of Zot. So even though it's a single-player game, it's a game with some community. So on one tab, I'm watching Railbird80. I can't say a whole lot about this person. I'm not a great source. But what I can say is that they've got some insane dedication, and when I want to watch a character that is absolutely owning the end parts of the game, Pandemonium, Hell. I haven't yet seen Tomb lately, but when I want to see that, I watch Railbird80. Yeah, Human Fire Elementalist of Sif Muna. So yeah, shout out to Railbird80. And a shout out also to everybody else over the years that I've watched play Crawl. So, here we are in the Snake Pit. We're XL17. And we wussed out of the Snake Pit a little while ago because there were some enemies there that were particularly difficult, notably Asterion. Asterion's a Minotaur king, worshipping a demon god and granted for his piety and servitude demonic powers. Has a pretty high level of hit points, not a lot of armor, not a lot of evasion, but they've got horns, so when they attack you twice. And right now it's about 2 out of 5 turns they'll hit us. And if they did that after 3 turns and they got max damage on all of their hits, 3 turns, we'd be dead. And that doesn't even get into what their other abilities are. And the reason why we left Asterion is because one of the scarier things that Asterion does is summons a major demon. And this is the cool part is that this is literally an ability that you can get in the game. You can worship Maklev. You can be a Minotaur and get these abilities. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool ecosystem, self-referencing, game design. So we're going to be a little careful about going on to Snake 3 because Asterion was recently right around here. So there's Asterion, there's a sea snake. What we really want to do is slow the sea snake. Greetings, said no one. Welcome to the stream. Asterion might have fire, probably not. Get the Mana Viper just in case. Alright, if we use Yaras, we're going to take damage, but we also don't really want to be hasted. Damn. Alright, we're just going to irradiate. 1, 2, 3 irradiates. Wow, weird. I really was doing 3 irradiates on my last character, and I wasn't contaminated with residual magic. What is up with that? I'm playing the same game version. I wonder if your spell power means that you get less contamination. Well, let's use another potion of cancellation. We don't want a bad mutation, and next time we'll just cast it twice. We have gotten a kite shield. It's a shame you can't brand them with anything. Hint, hint. Hint, hint, crawl developers. Yeah, I guess a Radiate can do it in 3, said no one. It's just literally on my Draconian Transmuter, the game I just played. I cast it 3 times and never got yellow contamination. Ever. So I don't really know what's up with that. So, we're wandering into a bunch of territory that's not going to be particularly fun. But maybe we can ambush the sharpshooter from this angle. That's not really working. We gotta remember we do have a condenser vein. So that's something that might be good to consider. Oh yeah, go kill that Naga Mage. Alright. We're actually starting to feel a little powerful here. We have a Scroll of Enchant Weapon that we need to not put on auto pickup. Sorry, Scroll of Enchant Weapon, it feels so awful. That's why we play Demigod, so that we could use body armor, because you can't as a Draconian. That's literally the reason. That's literally the reason. And I think it turned out to be a great reason, because we've got quad regen. We have 3.5 hit points that we regen per turn, always, when we're in Demigod form. I'm not going to summon anything. We're gonna do a Radiate if we can get him close enough. Actually, it looks like it's pretty effective just to beat on him, so that's what we'll do. The one good thing about Snake, and the Snake Pit I mean, is you can usually count on being able to run away, but man, if you get in close combat, it can turn bad fast. There's Guardian Serpents, the Nagas can constrict you, which sometimes will prevent you from moving away. A bookshop? Well, hello, bookshop. Oh my god. There's one bookshop, a jewelry shop, and another bookshop. Okay, we go straight to the jewelry shop. And we see Ring of Intelligence. Awesome. That could be useful. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on the wish list. A Ring of Resist Corrosion, which could be useful, but we have a Resist Corrosion shield. Okay, so that's tentatively a decent find. We've got some Poison Magic and also Summon Forest and Summon Hydra, which are both excellent, excellent spells. Holy moly, Summon Forest is already at 13% success rate. Alright, what else do we have? Book of Vapors and a Book of the Earth, which gives us statue form, Leda's Liquefaction, and Lee's Rapid Deconstruction, which is a great spell, but it's level 5. Only Earth, that is a very long way off for us. Just like statue form is a pretty long way off for us. Either way, I'll put it on the wish list. Now, in previous versions of Crawl, if you wanted to say study Earth magic, but you had no book of Earth magic, there was no way that you could do that. So sometimes in previous versions of Crawl, it was worth buying an item or finding an item and training that skill, even though it didn't give you any experience. So they ended up merging it or changing it to just you can do it even if you don't find the item. Because honestly, it's kind of a bad idea either way. Players shouldn't do that lately. So the other bookshop, plenty of poison magic. We've got Frozen Ramparts and Hailstorm. Hailstorm right now does 3d11. That's a great spell to pick up. So we'll put the Book of Frost on the wish list too. Book of Lightning. We do have Maxwell's Capacitive Coupling, but we shouldn't count on that. Alright, cool. So we can basically buy everything on our wish list. We can even buy the Intelligence Ring, although honestly I like the Willpower. And regardless, we're going to go after Transmutation to get Dragon Form. That's just the next thing we're going to do. And our spell casting is really not where we want it to be able to cast all these other spells. Like, it would be nice to cast Azakubu's Armor. We could get it. We have the 3 spell levels. The thing that gives me the most hesitation is that we only have... Oh, we did find another Scroll of Amnesia. So we could, but Dragon Form is probably what, like 35 or something by now? Where is it? Oh, it's 26. So yeah, we can't afford to memorize anything else. But if we forgot Spider Form, we could pick up Azakubu's Armor, and that would give us several more armor class. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Sorry, Spider Form. You helped us so much earlier. So much. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know. Wow, we have a lot of options to choose from. A lot of options. Is Azakubu's Armor even worth it? Like, would it be better to get Frozen Ramparts or Hailstorm? I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. We've been doing okay without it. Famous last words, I know. But hopefully we're never in that position. Last time we were in the Snake Pit, we had a much lower hit point pool. Hailstorm would be excellent against these Naga Warriors and Nagas. A lot of the time we're using Summoning, but we're kind of getting away from that, in all honesty. And using the combo of Hailstorm and Irradiate is pretty good. Like, for real. It's so good. It's so good. We have to get Hailstorm. It's just that the Hailstorm and Irradiate directly conflict with our Summoning. Hailstorm is really good, though. I need to look and see if Fedas Madash, if the plants that you get, I know you can fire missiles through them, but if you can, like, Hailstorm through them and Irradiate through them, that would be awesome. Like a sharpshooter. You need to be around the corner. So because our Ice Beast was there and got constricted, we knew the sharpshooter was adjacent. and that enabled us to do what we just did and not take any arrow hits. They get bonus damage when they hit you upon range. I'm surprised they didn't see me already, but... Good morning, Railbird 80. Okay, so I've never seen Pyroclastic Surge, but it's a spell you need to be aware of, and this is part of the reason why I really like how Crawl has gone the past few years, past several years, I'll say, many years. You used to not be able to examine these enemies. You couldn't see the spells that they cast. You couldn't see their stats. You couldn't see anything. You saw like a fluff description, and it would say stuff like immune to fire and whatever, but it didn't give you any numeric details or any of this other stuff. And so, I'll give you an example of a horrible death I had. I was doing a 15 rune game, I had all these different runes, I was in Tomb, I was getting like the final rune, and there's this spell called Vampiric Draining, and the spell still exists, and you can steal the life essence of living things around you. And it's a single target spell. So I was low on HP and I was running away. I was in a corridor and I used Vampiric Draining on something, and I forget exactly what it was. It wasn't obviously something that was dead, but the thing is, back then, if you cast Vampiric Drain, if you tried to steal the life essence of something that had no life, you would drain your own life in retribution, right? So like instead of getting a positive, you would get a negative, and so you would take damage. And that's what ended up happening. The game now, if you try and use Vampiric Draining or like Irradiate, like if I open up the spell menu right now, Irradiate's grayed out because the game's informing the interface with information about the spell, and that's a fantastic change, because if that change was in the game, I wouldn't have died. And the thing that I like about the Crawl design philosophy is that it's designed so that you don't need to know the meta of the game in order to make good decisions. Now, knowing the meta of the game helps quite a bit. Nobody's arguing against that. But if you can do an action that will kill you, like you used to be able to walk into deep water, and if you walked into deep water, you died. So if you were confused next to deep water, you would just die because you would fall in. So anyhow, they changed that. You now can't die in deep water, but if you are near, or another example, before, if you were confused and you had a bunch of summons, or you use like the Makleb demon ability to get demons, if you accidentally attacked one of your allies, sometimes they would turn on you, or the deity that you followed would give you strong retribution because you weren't acting, in alignment with good values and ethics. You can kill everything in the dungeon. Please kill everything in the dungeon, but don't kill your allies. Yeah, so the gods will still get mad at you, but the thing is, if you were confused, you could accidentally kill the enemy or attack your allies, and that would come with retribution. Now, if you're ever in that situation, the game will say, are you sure you want to cast this with your ally nearby? Are you sure you want to wander around confused with your ally nearby? And those kinds of touches are so important. Like, the ideal game plays itself and presents challenges and decision gates to the players. It's never satisfying. Like, imagine you're playing a game, board game or something, and then like by a technicality at the end of the game, like you overlooked one small rule or something, and then it's like, oh, I just lose. Like the game doesn't even define what I did as a success. I just lost. Same with crawl. If you can die on this permadeath game because you're like, oh, I should have known that this monster cast that spell, that's kind of crap. So I really appreciate that they hard-coded it into the game, and you can examine those things. So I'm going to stop blabbing, and we're going to prepare for the final level of Snake. I think this might... I hesitate to say it's the easiest, but compared to Swamp 4 that we know Mara is on, it's probably where we need to be right now. Our other options are to go deeper in the dungeon. No, don't want to do that. Because there's not even enough experience to get Dragon Form. So we'll try and finish Snake, and then depending on how we feel, we'll either go to the vaults or we'll go back to the swamp. So I'm gonna have a very brief bio break, and then we'll be on the final level of the Snake Pit. Alright, what's the last level look like? Admittedly, I've been down safer staircases. 3 salamanders, a tyrant, a mystic, and a naga sharpshooter. Plus a naga and a black mamba. This is where a radiate is really nice. We're going to play it safe and just... No, we're going to wait one turn, and now we're going to go up. And now we'll irradiate them. Alright, cool. Did we end up killing Asterion? Pretty sure we did. Alright, we got through that staircase, no problem. That's part of why I like the Amulet of Reflection. So I went and did, I did us the favor. How satisfying is it? Use a scroll of magic mapping. I did us the favor of revealing the entire dungeon level. As we suspected, this giant door near the staircase we went down is the opening to many, many dangerous things. Many dangerous things. So we can explore everything else, and we will, in the direction of where these upstairs are. One thing, normally I'm a proponent of exploring all of the staircases in a dangerous area, but on branch ends, and sometimes in other situations, but on branch ends, I think about the really, really bad staircases that we could have. This one was kind of a bad one, but sometimes they put you right in the middle of a bunch of really difficult enemies. And sometimes they even put you immediately adjacent to them. And then what are you going to do? Do a scroll of teleportation on a level that you haven't explored? Go up the stairs? Hope they don't hit you tons of times? I'm not really sure why the game thinks that we should pick up this other condenser vein, but the good news is that there's an interface to change that if you hit the backslash. Yeah, look at that, condenser veins, it's on there. So we'll pick up a little extra gold, and let's go back down. Scroll of Vulm, identify, nothing that's really going to help us a lot right now. But you never know, it's nice to have. Anaconda woke up. Hopefully is being slowed by the ice beast. Not really, but we destroyed it. We're going to ambush this Naga sharpshooter, which maybe wasn't the best idea considering there were other enemies around. Let's go ahead and cast Wereblood so we get the HP boost. Now, you might think that we should move, but the Naga warrior is actually blocking the sharpshooter from attacking us. So this is a boon. We're going to go ahead and cast Yara's Violent Unraveling. They probably should not have buffed their allies because now that almost killed the Naga warrior. So now we're going to close the distance, and we know we have Irradiate there to help us if we need it, but we don't even need it. That's why we wanted Yara's. It's a great hex. it feels so bad to find these scrolls as brand weapon and just know that they're never going to be used in this game. Not for a good reason, at least. Alright, so there's an Ice Blast wand down there that would be nice to have. I want to use the Condenser Vein just to get a better sense of what it's used for. I'm kind of afraid that I'll need it down here for the branch ending. And we can run away pretty easily, so that's what we're going to do. We'll use our little hexes on them as they chase us. They put lava down in front of us. There's the Pyroclastic Surge. That's a cool spell. I wish they would stop casting it on us, but that's a cool spell. Come on. May as well turn Wereblood on. Yeah, if you want to fight me, come on up and fight me. There we go. Get him in one space. Alright. It's a good thing we didn't blow that Condenser Vein. We didn't need to at all. We didn't even get low HP. Ooh, Scroll of Summoning. That has saved our butt before. That's how we killed Saint Roka. We left the Orcish Mines unexplored for like thousands of turns. Just because Saint Roka was there. Okay, well, we did get the shops first. So it wasn't so bad. Dang, man, those things do a lot of damage. I don't know what the fuck it is that's hitting us. It's probably the salamander. Our regen's gonna beat anybody else's regen. We'll win this. No problem. Recast. There we go. Now we're already at full HP. Alright, so here we are at the very end of the snake pit. So what kind of things can await us? Let's just do a lookup. Just look for Naga. No, I don't want that. I want Naga asterisk. So we have not seen Vashnia yet. That's unique. Marks Naga. So look at that. Hit for up to 25 damage and 21 extra damage when attacking from range. And then if you manage to get close, they can blink you away. They can blink their allies away. And they come in a big Naga Sharpshooter pack. So that would be bad. We'll also find Nagarajas. Naga Ritualist. Kind of the normal stuff. The Condenser Vein. Let's be ready to use that Condenser Vein. Like, can you imagine? You're in this dungeon in some other world. You open these big doors and you see a bunch of enemies and they're like, whoa, shit, I'm gonna come kill you. And you just shut the doors. And then you do as we're going to do, which is just run away. There's no reason There's no reason for us to be in that. Now, we can be right here, and we can fight them 1 or 2 at a time. You know, I agree with what Railbird just posted. And it's about what Crawl is like as a game and what it takes to play it. Damn, we are getting wrecked by these sharpshooters. We're also in ice form. We don't have our regen. This is just not great for us. I don't really want to use the condenser vein, but I don't see much other option. And then we got electric cloud, which is not great. So we're not going to be able to drink or heal wounds if we're not in ice form. Wow, did that actually kill them? Kind of. Oh, damn. Alright. So that was pretty sloppy. But you know, that's what you watch the stream for. Is stuff like that. Near death. Less than 1/3 HP. So anyhow, what Railbird80 was saying is that, and I'll quote, a big part of this game is threat assessment and knowing when to put off a fight until you are strong enough. And hubris is something you become aware of when you play this game. Because if you just think, oh, I'm strong enough to go in there and I'll just fuck shit up, you're gonna die. And you've got to be evaluating risk-reward at all times. And trying to maximize your combat advantage so that you're always at your maximum advantage, you know, or close enough to it. So as a transmuter, you're basically, in the beginning, this weak-ass character just kind of wrestling things with your hands and feet and body parts. And you pick up these spells to make you better able to do those things. So that's why we got Summon Mana Viper. That's why we got Irradiate. As a transmuter, you kind of start from nothing. And they give you some great tools to transform yourself, right? And be able to meet whatever the situation calls for. But the margin for error, okay, this is bad. The margin for error as a transmuter is much higher. Because unlike if you're a fire elementalist, right, it's just like, train your fire magic. And it's like, okay, I'll probably be okay if I train my fire magic, but as a transmuter, how you kill things isn't even set in the beginning of the game. You don't even know, are you going to be mostly melee, or are you going to be spellcasting, or are you going to be summoning? Add on top of that, as a demigod, you can't even rely on a deity, so you've really got to be flexible. That's part of why it's difficult. Alright, so that aside, we came across something that's pretty bad, which is this Guardian Serpent. The reason why the Guardian Serpent is bad and why I love the Crawl interface is that you can examine them and then you can check out. The spell that they cast is literally called Blink Allies Encircling, and it translocates a number of allies in the caster's sight to surround a targeted enemy. So think of airstrike or smiting, but instead of that, you're teleporting enemies adjacent. Now we have Irradiate, so it's really not that bad. But normally, if it wasn't for this Guardian Serpent, we would be trying to run away out into this open area. Right now, we're gonna run away into this enclosed area. And that's probably risky because these Nagas all have pole arms, but it does mean that we're not gonna fight them all at once. Whereas, if we tried to run away here, we could potentially be surrounded by enemies with no way to escape anyhow. You know what? maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it. We'll go that way, and if we get surrounded, we'll just irradiate. Look at that. 1 irradiate, 2 irradiate. Alright, I want to cast a 3rd irradiate, but that seems a little risky. So let's at least kill the Guardian Serpent, and we'll get a Mana Viper. That spawned on the other side of the Naga Ritualist, but that was a lot more fun, I think. And I will say that we were pretty close in our estimation on when exactly we were going to get that spell cast on us. Yeah, keep buffing yourself, because I'm going to use it to kill these other enemies. Okay, we're slowed. That's bad. That's bad. Alright, we can fight these enemies down there. It's just we can't be slowed. This would be a good opportunity to use the condenser vein. Either right here or retreating up the hall a little bit, but we kind of already blew it. We can currently be affected by poison. We're going to need to be in ice form to slow these sea snakes. And if we're in ice form, we also pick up some poison resist. So that, it covers that. Let's just keep running away as far as we can. Try and fight one-on-one. That's how you play. If you don't like it, don't play. Or, I mean, there are characters you can be. You can be like an axe maniac. We're gonna get out of ice form because we need the regen. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Basically at full HP immediately after the fight. If one were a speedrunner with respect to turn count, this would be the best possible item you could get. So, the threat assessment is super important, back to Railbird 80's point. It's super important, and it's why you gotta take things at a tactical advantage. And you can't, like I am right now, you can't just start assuming, oh, my character is powerful, and play lazy. You really have to play somewhat smart most of the time. And if you don't play smart, that's when you get put in danger, and that's when you nearly die. Like, we've nearly died to sea snakes before. That's why we're getting an ice form. And as a transmuter, you're particularly subject to these sorts of situational dependencies. And that's part of why it's fun. I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And that's why I decided, because it took me 8 or 9 games to get my Draconian Transmuter win. That's why I decided, you know what? I was sick of not having the body armor. I was sick of having the dodging penalty, you know, for being big. Let's just go, let's go Demigod. And let's be a Transmuter. Being Transmuter is really fun. It's just a different playstyle. Alright, so when this Naga Sharpshooter comes by, we're gonna rush them. Let's go ahead and actually change our plan a little bit. Speaking of almost dying, there we are. We're at 20% HP. And all that was basically just standing next to enemies that do a lot of damage. In fact, that Naga warrior just destroyed the summons. It barely even lost any health points. So let's see if we can do any damage to it. I mean, it's got a weapon of protection. The extra armor clash is making it difficult. I'll give him that. Oh my gosh, could it be? Dragon form is at 14%? Oh, I'm so glad I didn't learn we didn't learn Ozakuba's armor. Alright, dragon form, memorize. So, it's really not totally ready to cast, but it's definitely ready to cast. So, let's take transmutations off focus, and let's focus spellcasting. Yeah, 14% is great. It's not great for summoning, so if we had a summoning spell that we wanted to cast, 14% would not be very good, at least in the early game. So part of the early game transmuter is get your forms into castable state, you know, just yellow castable, so around 20% or so. And then you just make sure, don't wait until the last moment to transform. Give yourself a few turns. Whereas if you're a summoner and you're casting spells with 20% failure rate, you're going to get an unseen horror in your face. And those are extremely difficult to deal with until you're clearing the lair branches. So, all that to say, said no one's advice, is that dragon form at 14% is totally fine. And I agree, it's totally fine. We do have statue form that could potentially benefit from increased transmutation. Irradiate will benefit from increased transmutation, but we're not going to be loading conjuration very high, so we're unlikely to get irradiate much higher spell power, unless we pick up conjurations, which we might. So all of this is basically to say there's really no reason to train transmutation anymore. I'm going to train it up a little more to get better than 14%. But I'm not going to train it up much more, certainly not up to 18. We'll get it to 15 and reevaluate. Spellcasting, we might want that at 13 or higher. Fighting will turn off, and let's get another rank of dodging. We're starting at 18, see if we can get it to 19. So we're making good progress on our first rune. This is probably the furthest I've ever gone on a streak. I'd have to spend some time researching my previous wins to see. Aw, thank you. I don't consider myself a great crawl player. I have no misgivings about, dying. Almost all of my games I've died. Okay, I should have gotten the Mana Viper earlier against the Nagaraja. I thought they were susceptible to cold. No, they're not. There's no point of being in ice form. Okay. Hasted Naga Mage, let's do away with that. Let's get ourselves an Ice Beast. Let's back up. The more we back up, the better it is because of our regen. Let's say the Naga Mage first, Sea Snake second. Nice. Two Nagarajas. So I correct myself. Sometimes I say Nagaraha as a mistake. They used to be called Royal Nagas, and then they changed to Nagaraja. Raja also means royal, so this is not English. And if you say Raha, this is wrong. Alright, let's get our Mana Viper. Doesn't look great. What is that? Halberd for freezing. And they do like 50 damage and we're constricted. Luckily they hasted themselves, so we can use Yara's. Luckily they hasted themselves again. Just keep doing that. How's that working out for you? This character is pretty fun so far. There's a lot of reliance on summons, which after we get our transmutations to 15, we're going to pick summonings back up. We're going to get Monstrous Menagerie. And then we're going to have Sphinxes and Manicores and shit backing our shit up. We're so close to finishing the last level of the Snake Pit. Thought for a moment maybe we did already. We got to be careful about Guardian Serpent, so always make sure when you're in a situation like this to try and keep the enemies at your line of sight, at the edge of the line of sight. That way they can either choose to do an ability or they can choose to follow you. And they can't attack you while they're following you because they're slow. But if you forget that, and you get yourself caught up in a pack of Nagas, and their tails and shit are all fucking spun around you and grabbing you, I mean, you're getting tails going into your ears and your mouth and your neck, and you're like, yeah, it's not so easy to get away. We did pick up Apportation, and in earlier versions of Crawl, what we're about to do would be a horrible idea. It used to be that if an item dropped in deep water, it was gone for forever. So one would never cast Apportation with this rune over this deep water. Like, it just wouldn't happen. You wouldn't do it. Because you could lose the rune. For real. You could lose it. Same with lava. I think items probably still get lost in lava, but... Anyhow, so we got ourselves the rune, and we finished Snake Pit. Well done, thank you. So, we can now go into the vaults. We can probably handle that. The thing is with the vaults is you need burst DPS because what the game introduces are they're called Ironbound Convokers. And so we were just fighting the Guardian Serpent. Here, I'll look it up. We were just fighting the Guardian Serpent, and they have that Blink Allies Close ability. The Convoker ability is called Word of Recall. And they don't even have to be in line of sight. They just have to be alive on the level. So they cast their word of recall, and then a few turns later, you've got potentially 8 extra enemies following you. So we're going to take a quick break before we go. All right, and we're back. We just got our first rune on our first street character. As a Demigod Transmuter XL17, we are headed to the swamp. And we are very likely going to fight Mara. So, that'll be kind of exciting. As I recall, basically none of these staircases were any good. So just to be safe... yes, actually. It is a mechanical keyboard. I need to get a better headset. Actually, it's not a headset, it's just a lapel microphone clipped to me. They're proprietary. It's a Logitech keyboard, but they're pretty similar to a cherry brown switch. That's my preferred switch. I like having a little bit of a click, and I like the tactile feel on actuating the key, so that I don't have to bottom out. I mean, I may bottom out a lot of the times anyhow, you know? That's just how it goes. Sometimes you bottom out. It's just a little gentler. I can imagine that other people would prefer different things, though. It's not really too far off. So here we are against Mara. We should have done this before. Mara does not cast any cold spells. Yeah, maybe we don't swap out the ring. No, screw it. We're gonna retreat. And we're gonna swap out the ring so that we don't have a vulnerability. And then that way, when we're in dragon form, at least we don't have negative resist. And we still have 2 pips of fire. So let's recast, and then we'll go down, and let's just dance back and forth and see if Mara will come any closer. And the answer is no. Mara's not coming any closer, so let's just go down a different staircase. Like this one marked as excluded, why not? Okay, so there's Mara, there's a Mana Viper and an Illusion. So we definitely need to wait more turns. Like a lot more turns. We have plenty of Zot clock on this level. So let's wait to like 18:6. Oh, sorry, we're going backwards. It's been 200 turns, so the enemy should have despawned by now. Mara should still be here. We're flying. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and Mara's dead. And Mara has 144 HP. This is why Dragon Form is freaking awesome. It's not as awesome as when you're a Draconian, but it's still awesome. So we're going to get transmutations up to 15. And we're at 18 EV now. Hopefully we can get up to 19. And then we're going to take our spell casting up as well. We're going to unfocus that actually. So with Mara dead, let's keep exploring. 8-headed Hydra, normally pretty scary. We're not going to turn into a dragon, because as a dragon we'll rip the Hydra heads off and they'll grow back double. Alright, we're going to go into dragon form for the flying. I think it's probably a little safer than Ice Beast. And it also might be a little safer than Ice Beast because of the ridiculous power. Although this does not look particularly good. Especially this part. Damn. It's alright, we can take some more hits. Let's condenser vein. And we'll get poison gas, which isn't really gonna affect anything, but it's something. And we're gonna have to go into ice form and get this Hydra dead. Oh shit. We gotta use this last. Let's quiver the fear. %79% chance to effect. They're slow, they have 7 hits, 50-50 to hit. That's not good. But 80% is good. So let's read Scroll of Fear, and then let's get the fuck out of here. Alright, they've seen us now. Scroll of Summoning it is. Okay, it's our Spriggan Druid. We're gonna go into ice form, and I don't really want to drink a heal wounds. Okay, good. We don't have to drink the heal wounds. So some other things that we're going to want to pick up. We want to get some more summoning, because we have Summon Forest. But we're just increasing our dodging to see if we have any easy evasion rating to pick up. Titanic Slime Creature, now that's a player killer right there. 110 damage? Yeah, no thanks. This might be a Lurnean Hydra Vault. I have not had one of those in a long time, so I'm not super familiar with what they look like. We have the Thrashing Horror that makes me think maybe it's an Abyss-themed vault. Either way, it's pretty scary. We need to get the fuck out. We'll stay in dragon form, but tentacled monstrosity. Maybe it's an abyssal swamp ending. We haven't really seen that, but it could be. So for our attributes, we're approaching the point where we may actually want to stop putting points into intelligence. This is a tough call. This is a tough call because we would like to have a bigger shield. And if we did, we would need more intelligence. We'd also need more dexterity. We would definitely like to have more dexterity, mostly because we want to have a bigger shield and we want to have good evasion rating. If we were comfortable in our evasion rating, we should go strength to boost our damage. But as a transmuter, we have no damage unless we can cast the necessary spells. Our next things that we're looking at are to memorize stuff like Hailstorm, Monstrous Menagerie, Summon Forest. The more intelligence we have, the less experience we have to dedicate to our spell schools. And if we don't have to pay very much experience on our spell schools, then that leaves more experience to give towards fighting, unarmed combat, dodging. Those are the things that we would like to have, but we can't have until we kill things. So that's why I like a high intelligence transmuter, especially as a demigod. It does mean that our maximum evasion is kind of capped out a bit, and that is unfortunate, but we can't be spending points in dexterity when we don't even have a shield, and we don't have our endgame set of spells. So next level up, maybe we'll go dexterity, but not this time. As a bonus, our dragon form is under 10%, so by the time it gets to 15, we'll be in good shape. But we still have this level to clear. We have multiple shadows chasing us, bog bodies, nothing too scary, but they do go invisible, and we don't have see invisible unless we're in demigod form. Oh yeah, there's big stuff in there. There's probably more than one Titanic slime creature down there. Okay, that's when we run. What is it? What's down there? They lost sight of us. But we have a green death that has found us. Multiple ugly things. Nothing too scary, though. Well, come on, chase us. We want to kill you. It's not. It's just chilling at range. So we'll take a different tact. We'll wait out here. One would think the rune would be right here, in its nice little clearing area. But it's not. Must be somewhere else. Alright, and that's the end of Swamp 4. We've got our first 2 runes. It ended up being not a 27-headed Lernaean Hydra Vault, but it was this kind of cool Abyssal Vault. Lots of thrashing horrors, dragons of all sorts, but, you know, we're a dragon on our own right now. So, the more spell slots we have, the more spells we're going to be able to learn. I wonder, can you cast Azakubu's armor while you're in a form? You must be able to. I don't see why not. That was one of the spells we were thinking about learning. The other one was... we have Dragon's Call, but that's level 9 summoning. We're not going to be able to get that. We have Monstrous Menagerie at 19%. We should probably save our spell levels for that. So, if we get up to 13 spell casting, that'll take us there. Let's go ahead. You know, let's just turn our transmutation off right now. And let's get it to the same, or a little less. We'll get it to 14. Our dodging, we have not picked up an extra evasion rating yet. So it's good that we're stopping at 9. We'll reevaluate once we get some more dexterity. or find a better shield. So for now, we're going to go towards Monstrous Menagerie. We're not going to rush to it, though. Yeah, actually, we will. Let's focus it. So we can now go into the vaults. But let's see. Let's see if we can get Gastronoc. Let's just forget the whole level. Let's Control F, Control Forget, and then we Auto Explore. We find Gastronoc. We will unforget. And then let's make sure we know what they do. Slow, Sprint, Airstrike. They bite up to 40 damage. They have 150 HP. So we want to get out of line of sight. Turn into a big old dragon, because that's what we do these days. 1, 2, dead. And we get a +1 hat of intelligence, which we will promptly put on. We'll lose some armor class, but that improves all our spell power and spell success. Our Monstrous Menagerie is at 19 now. So, now that we have dragon form, we can probably take Louise. We can probably take Rupert. In Elf 2, there was that crazy vault with like 4 Blade Masters. That's too advanced for us. Alarm traps. Yeah, Orc 2, you got the message. You hear a shout times 71. Oh, damn. That's when a character that knows, and this is why I want to play a Venom Mage again, a character that knows Olgreb's Toxic Radiance and Ignite Poison will have an insanely fun time. Just screens after screens of enemies walking towards you, falling ill, and then bursting into flames. Yeah, I miss playing that Venom Mage. I had a good one, and then it died, so. But I think what we're going to do... We gotta look up Rupert. 120 HP. We've got enough willpower to resist the Paralyze and Confuse. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. Now that we have what we have. So, let's hope we don't get banished. Alright, did not get banished. We'll be able to mow through the humans, no big deal. The Orc Knight, no big deal. That's what being a big, badass dragon's all about. He's fuck it all up. Oh my god, we actually get a fire breath since we're not a draconian. Nice. Does it leave a flame? Oh my god, it even leaves a flame. Dragon form. Wow, what a great spell. That Conjure Flame, if you use it smartly, has such a big impact. I mean, if you can add 10, 20 damage per turn on top of your attack, That's basically the same as like plus 5 to 10 slay, depending on what your attack speed is. We can probably kill this Hydra, so we're not gonna run away too much. We will run away some, but we're not gonna run away too much. Alright, here's Rupert. We can probably kill them. What I think our best chances is to hide behind a wall and shout until they come into our line of sight. And that way, they don't know what... They're not gonna berserk themselves beforehand. At least that's the hope. So we got Rupert and Nessos. We did already kill Rupert. So let's go ahead and get Wereblood going. I'm feeling we're gonna need that. Okay, you can haste yourself, but I'm gonna blow the magic off of you. Yeah. Look at that. A scroll we've never read. Could it be acquirement, my friend? No, it's a scroll of poison, but it makes such a nice, such a nice design on the screen. So, look at that. Great Wizards Volume 2. We get Alistair's Intoxication, Borgnor's Vile Clutch, and Erinya's Noxious Bog. Erinya's Noxious Bog. I was just talking about that. I never used that spell. And it's a level 6 Transmutation Poison. If we had the spell levels. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of spell levels. Like a lot. I'm gonna focus spellcasting too. So let's see what Dungeon 15 is like. Sometimes there's like a cool Depths Vault. Magic Scroll Shop, Fear Fog and Blinking, those are auto buys. Hey, there's our Depths Vault with Arbalest armed Tengu warriors and a Frost Giant. That is pretty cool. +6 battle axe of freezing, man. If you were an axe wearer, that would be the shit. So we've got several options. We could go to vaults. We could go and finish Elf 3. We finish Elf 3. Who knows what kind of loot we're gonna find? Oh man, the loot could be so good. We already killed Luis. Let's clear that annotation for Dungeon 14. Elf may be what we do. I think we should probably pop our head in vaults before we do that. There's so many dangerous things in Elf. But the loot could be so good. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think the conventional wisdom would be to do Elf 3 as late as possible. Even though our willpower doesn't seem very high, it doesn't look like we can be banished very easily, and that's my main fear. But I also don't want to be electrocuted or banished. We could go into the depths. The thing with the depths is, I don't know, lots of big beefy enemies, lots of HP. With dragon form we're probably okay, but you can get some nasty stuff. I think we do Elf. Let's go back to the Elven Halls. It's at least a power curve that we're familiar with. Alright, so we're going to take a quick break. Our resistances are admittedly not good. We can get ourselves better resist, kind of. And that's part of the reason why we're in Elf, is to try and hope to get some better gloves and boots. Usually a lot of equipment is generated, and if we got any sort of resistance we don't currently have, or stats, or, you know, there's a lot that we could get that would be better. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. I personally am very afraid of being banished, so I have the willpower on. And I have the resist cold ring, so that when we go into dragon form, we're not negative on cold. We do get a lot of resist fire, though. So even though we took our dodging from 8 to 9, our evasion rating did not go up, so that was a little bit of a waste, but as we get more dexterity, that'll be okay. We have 4 spell levels, so we're going to need a few level ups on spell casting before we can get Monstrous Menagerie castable. So I'm going to unfocus summoning so we get the spell levels a little faster. And then we'll take a very quick break before we finish the end of the Elven Halls. And I'll put it on my playtime. It'll be a short break. Alright, and we're back, and we are going to try and finish the Elven Halls. We really haven't even started. So we're probably going to accomplish this mostly through Dragon Form, Summon Mana Viper, and Irradiate. It's always a good practice when you want to do something like clear a whole level before you get to the end. Always a good practice to put a travel exclusion, and then the game will respect that. If you try to go places, retrieve items, auto-explore, it respects it. Oh no, we went upstairs into the Elven Halls, in the Hall of Blades. Man, that's the worst possible thing that could have happened. Alright, so we teleported out of there. Okay, so there was some stuff up there we could have killed, but we got out of there. And you know what? That's what we get, because it was an escape hatch. And I forgot that we didn't explore it completely. Yeah, it was that escape hatch right there. Leads to the Hall of Blades. Let me just exclude that, just to make sure I know. I think we're in solid lure territory. I think we can lure things out. The casting of Shatter or whatever is generating these earth elementals is pretty annoying though. Who knows if the Mana Viper is even going to be successful. We'll be able to do it. There's another one, no big deal. Deep Elf Annihilator, no big deal. Fire Elemental, no big deal. Big badass dragon. Being marked is kind of bad. It's not really worth spending the cancellation potion on. So let's make our way to those upstairs. Of course, something's in the way. That's a little scary. But we've kept pretty safe. We haven't fought archers, blade masters, or demonologists. Speaking of demonologists. Yeah, so that's bad. I don't really know how to pronounce this. I think it's Chi-Chi Middle? Something like that. Or maybe it's ZZ Middle. I don't know. But either way, that's why I don't like demonologists. And that's also why we have Yara's Violent Unraveling. And we can explode it. Because like this Hell Sentinel. Oh, there's something in the way. Oh, we don't have line of sight to it. Anyhow, we're gonna run away. We're not gonna, fuck that. Make sure to go into Demigod form so we regen by the time we get there. Yeah, 2 irradiates and a mauling of a dragon from a dragon. You like that? Conjure flame right in the hallway. We can take one step down and it's still there. Not that we can do a whole lot to them from a distance. I guess we can shoot them with a wand of flame, but yeah, no thanks. Let's just book it. Oh, we are at the treasure vault. The treasure vault, we see a manual of conjurations. We see a box of beasts. We see wands we haven't identified before. So let's get rid of these things we're not using. Javelins, darts. Box of beasts, nice. Wand of mind burst, nice. Manual of conjurations, nice. Phial of floods, nice. Phantom mirror, nice. We gotta drop something for the phantom mirror, though. AC ring. Metropa, let's modify our pickup to not get those anymore. Of tremor stones, and we have an artifact sling. Sometimes those can be pretty godly. Let's drop the ring of flight to get the tremor stones, and then we don't need the phantom mirror. The phantom mirrors used to be single use, so you would like always pick them up, always. But now they're rechargeable. So we finished Elf 3. Once we get a little more experience, then we'll be able to cast Monstrous Menagerie. We are probably now gonna go into the vaults. And if we see something scary in the vaults, or we get to Vaults 4, whatever comes first, then we'll go into the depths. But our only other option is to go to slime, and we're definitely not ready for the royal jelly. We don't really have very good resistances. It's okay for slime, honestly, especially with the radiate. So that'll kind of be our back pocket. If we're like, man, we really need just a little more experience, then we're gonna go to slime. So we won't clear that yet. So let's go to Dungeon 14, and let's get ready to go into the depths. Or sorry, the vaults. What the fuck am I talking about? Now's probably a good time to cut the video off and kind of start a new segment. So I will not put it on my playtime, but I will be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna actually close everything down totally, and then I'll bring it back up. But it won't take very long. Thanks for watching. See you next video.